What's good, everybody? Lethal Mindset in the building. This is a very special video, very special moment. Like everything I ever worked for in 2K leads up to this moment. I can't express enough. There's no debate anymore in my mind. This team that I have is the best team I've ever had, ever. And like for the longest time, I always put them in certain categories. Like when it was me, Kenny G, Tony, Free, and Queso. You know, that was a great team. I had them ranked probably number two. The team, it was me, Mike, Meach, Brandon, and T. Will. That was the best team I ever had for so long. And then me, Step Your Game Up, RDH Hawk, T. Will, and Dynasty. That was a very dominant team. And just so many teams I done had over the years in 2K, and I always ranked them. But none of that matters anymore. This team that I have now, this roster that I've constructed together with the help of my teammates, this is the best team I've ever had. And I've been telling these guys that to have a team this good isn't normal. It's not normal. You know, and this feeling that I get every time I play with them is like, win or lose, I always feel like we was gonna win. When the times we lose, I know why we lost. I don't even have to like go into major detail about it anymore. It's just it's, you know, it's different feeling. But for the finals, this is the finals. We're going against Unrestricted. The first game was the first round part of the series is 2 games to 1 yesterday. Today is the last part of it is if we can win 2 straight games, which we won the first one, so if we can win this game, we'll be champions. And if not, we'll continue the series and go however long it takes to actually win the series. But I'm so excited. Black Hoodie Bandit mode is in full effect. I'm ready for this, man. I worked so hard for so long just to try to put myself in a position to call myself a champion somewhere in some league. You know, and for me, it's official if the league is for money. And that's all that matters. The other teams came here and competed their hearts out. Shout out to everybody that competed in this particular season in the Morgan League. So this is what it is. Lethal Team versus Unrestricted. This is the finals of the Morgan League inside the association. I'm going to give you out the history. Unrestricted is a team that has finals experience. Like this same core right here. Finals experience. This is a team that's been proven. I first met these guys in UHA, which I let a lot of people that kind of ran in this league in UHA. And I'm very appreciative of them because they the ones that sparked the idea to do the whole Morgan League and everything like that. So shout out to them. But this team right here, I said it a while ago, it's going to be about 4 teams that possibly could have made it to the finals. Us, Trey Bombs, Unrestricted, and this other team, New Religion, who we beat 3-0 to get to the finals. What ended up happening is Unrestricted actually knocked off the team that I thought would be here in Trey Bombs. They swept them. Whooped their whole ass. Like, it wasn't even close. They whooped their ass. They had their number. And what was crazy about it, like, after we had beat Trey Bombs, I knew, like, by the way everything was kind of shaking out with the rankings, it was going to be a good possibility that they had to meet up against each other in the conference finals. And it was just crazy how everything worked out the way it did. Because in the finals, it's all about matchups. Some teams just match up better. I can't say for sure we would have beat Trey Bombs. And I really, to be honest with you, we did beat New Religion, but I mean, it was some controversy in that series as well as we end up beating them. So it's a good chance that they had, the way they play and constructed, they could have beat us too. So everybody had a fair chance to win it. That's all I really cared about. But man, this was a best of 7. A best of 5 series is long. To do a best of 7, I had to break it off into 2 days. There's no way around that. But with this team having finals experience, this was Ace's chance to prove that he's the best player. This is J-Dub's chance to prove that he's the most dominant lockdown there is in the league. You know, there's a lot of different scenarios working here. This is my opportunity to prove that my team is the best team, that the strategy and system that I designed is the best. The reason why I run this style, to me, is because I feel like it's the best way to be in any game. those other stats, like to run 4-1 pick and roll, you're pretty much telling yourself that you're a better offensive team than the other team is. If you play 5 out with a smaller guard, you're pretty much saying your defense is so good that we don't really need this point guard to actually play defense. Everybody else is so good at it that we're going to get our stops that way. And there's a lot of things working with it. I said the best way to win is to have everybody be just as defensively capable. So that's why we're all pretty much the same size. It doesn't really have much to do with defensive attributes, but I just feel like if everybody can guard one-on-one and defend one-on-one, and if they try to do some type of bullshit, we can just switch it. That's the best way to stop something defensively. And then offensively, I feel like I'm the best one-on-one player. So if I can beat their lockdown one-on-one and surround me with shooters, every time they make a defensive mistake, I can kick to a wide open shot. And then from there, it's more stuff to go into it, ball movement, backdoor cuts, things like that. But for the most part, that's how I feel like what's the best way to win. Now, the way Unrestricted does it is different. Because they have two guys in Return of Young and Ace Season. They have two guys that are just so great at a 1v1 that you pretty much got to pick and choose which one you want to try to stop. Big shout out to Loco. Big shout out to D-Mac. Them two came to play. They brought it on the defensive end. Big shout out to Montage. He had a challenge because normally what would happen when we play against this team, I would have a character that has gold post move lockdown, and I would guard Young because Young likes to be in the post spin, post fade, do all these different moves. But Montage held his own. He even said it the whole time we was playing. You can check it out on his Twitch stream at Montage_gaming on Twitch. He just said, hey man, it ain't gonna be that sweet down here. And he already said, like, the next game, once we played them, once he had a chance to change his badges around, it wasn't gonna go down like that. So, like, with this being the second game of the day, or the chance for us to close out the series, I had to trust everybody to do what they said they was gonna do. All right. The lineup I actually prepared to come in here with didn't happen. You know, King was not available, or he came back late and Jamaica had something to do. And they couldn't play in the finals, and I know they really wanted to, and I appreciate all those guys just for supporting. Because even, that's the thing about our team, even if somebody can't play, the next person steps up. You know, we come out there and execute the same way, and we go out there and get wins. So, man, this was everything. So, I actually expected the series to go about 6 games, to be honest with you. I thought we would lose twice. So that's why this game right here, this closeout game, is very important. Because if we lose this one, it's definitely going to 6 games. And, you know, we have to probably hope we get home court advantage or something like that, and hope that we can make shots. Because the adjustment they made for game 3 worked in their favor. They're better if they can keep you from scoring. Like, they want low scoring games, you know, 40, 50 point scoring games. And I realized to beat them, you have to get somewhere damn near close to 70 points. If you play a low-scoring game against this team, they are too good defensively to actually beat them. That's when the 1 and 2 stars of Young and Ace is going to take over and deliver them the victory. Matter of fact, I think when we played game 2, that's what happened. So we won the first game, lost game 2, won game 3. But in that game 2, very low scoring game. And when it comes down to a low scoring game, like you trying to stop Ace down the stretch, he can give it to Young. You try to stop Young down the stretch, he can give it to Ace. And then T-Blow and, hold on, let me get myself right. But T-Blow, Defensive Player of the Year, and J-Dub, they do a phenomenal job of just spacing up the floor and being ready to shoot. Obviously, T-Blow is their best shooter. But J-Dub, he had the highest percentage in the league, shooting a 70% clip. And they both had the ability to stretch the ball back to that beyond limitless range. So once they knocking them shots down and the defense is where it's supposed to be, you can't beat them in a low scoring game. It's impossible. It's too many things to worry about, too many great decision makers to try to stop that. Whereas for us, normally I would like a low scoring game, but like it's it's about matchups, and this team is just better at it down the stretch in a low scoring game. So I want to get as many points on the board. I want to try to get out on them as much as possible. And I ain't gonna lie, game four we struggled. We struggled. We pulled the victory out, but we struggled. So right here in game five, the adjustment I pretty much had everybody make. It was very slight. I didn't really tell the team or nothing like that. But it was what we did defensively that made all the difference, right? So I had everybody guard who I wanted them to guard. I put Montage on Young. I put Loco on Ace, which, hey, Loco on Ace is a wrap, boy. Don't get me wrong, Ace might score some points, but he knows Loco is around somewhere, somehow. But what I did defensively is the first game I let my boy Strap, I let him guard Defensive Player of the Year. In the second game, I switched it and I let D-Mac guard Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to tell you why that works. So Defensive Player of the Year, he's in that back left corner. You see him coming down and try to get the board, right? He's the center for Unrestricted. The thing about him is he can score. He's just not built for the moment. Don't get me wrong, he can post score, he can knock down shots, but he's not built for the moment. So if you can bait him into certain shots, he's going to miss them. I don't know whether because his three ball isn't like in the 80s or what it is, but I just know if you bait him into shooting the ball, he'll either hold it too long and it allows our defense to recover, or he'll miss the shot because he isn't as confident in shooting it. So I told Strap to guard J-Dub, and I was like, hey, you stay on him. I stayed on the other sharp so he couldn't get off. And I allowed D-Mac to roam as much as he possibly could. And he came away with a lot of big blocks, a lot of big rebounds, a lot of big interceptions. Like, that was the one adjustment I made from the last game to this one. And I think that was the difference kind of later in the ball game. As you can see, it's very close right now. But at this point, I think we derailed Unrestricted confidence because we are up 3-1. If they had won that last game, they probably would be a lot more confident in the fact that they can beat us because they would have felt like they had a strategy that was working. So the reason why I put certain people on the floor in certain situations is just because I'm looking at what the teams do best, and I try to put personnel out there that can take away or minimize the damage we have to take to actually win. All right, so the reason why I wanted Jamaica on the floor this game was to guard Young, to guard the guy that can do all the post moves and score that way, because Jamaica is very good, because he's the biggest body we got. He's very good at not giving up ground in the post while also having enough perimeter defense to be able to guard on his own, right? Like I said, Montage just did a phenomenal job at it, but I believe his post-move lockdown in the first game only goes to bronze. So, Young kind of got off the first game. I think he had like 28 points, something like that, and he was very efficient scoring the ball. But that don't mean bad defense was getting played. I mean, hell, we're in the finals. We're going against great players. Same thing for me. J-Dub is a phenomenal defender, but I mean, I have to step up and be the guy for my team because that's what got us here. I mean, I actually didn't plan on playing every game this season. It just kind of happened. Either somebody stepped out at the last minute or something like that, and I just ended up filling in playing the games. But nonetheless, I think it worked out. As you see at halftime, I got 18. Ace has 13. So both teams are very confident in with the way the game is going. In my head, I'm like, the game is too low scoring for me. All right, I would rather us be up like 42-39 at this point, because that means the pace is moving much faster. And then over the course of time, our pace is always going to wear out. It's going to wear them out. But I think I did a great job of staying as poised as possible. The defense was annoying. It was highly annoying. J-Dub would not leave me alone for nothing. But in them focus their attention on me, my teammates did a great job of just moving the ball around and trusting each other. You know, in this particular moment, I'm not able to make every single play. I can't. They're not going to allow me to. Matter of fact, game 4, the last game, what they did was, and I'm actually probably going to come out with a video for that, but what they did was they pretty much trapped me the whole time up the court and then dropped back into a 2-3 zone because they knew I couldn't shoot a 3 ball. And they pretty much just hedged as much as they possibly could to try to force me to take up a bad shot in the paint or throw a bad pass so they can get off to the races. And the game is all about adjustments, so that's all you can do is adjust. Simple as that. But everything that we work for and everything we work towards kind of came together in this game. I was just so proud. I was anxious trying to play the game, and I think the way I did this season actually worked out really well because to have to do the waiting game and have to do the part of just trying to strategize and be ready to play, that's very hard to do the longer you wait. So the fact that we had to play this series in 2 days instead of 1, I think made it better for everybody that was involved, because if we was to lose the series or if they lose the series, it's going to hurt. And that's what I wanted to happen. Like, to play a best of 7 and lose hurts. Like, there's no denying which team is better. You know, it doesn't matter if it was game 7 and it came down to the last shot and that team won. They beat you 4 times. So there's no denying which team is better. There's no denying which team is the best team at that point. And to some extent, there's no denying who's the best player. Whether people want to admit it or not, like, if you're a champion and you're the best player on that team at that moment in time, you're the best. You're the best in the world. Like, the people who came to compete against you couldn't get the job done. I was telling my team, even after the conference finals, after we 3-0'd them, job not done yet. And even though we was up 2-1 going into today's games, I told them same thing. Job not done yet. You know, it's always great to celebrate the little victories that you get in between, and that's important. But focus on the task at hand. Like, the job was not done yet. It was time to go win the championship, submit our name and legacy, win the money, win the bragging rights, and celebrate. That's what it was all about. If we can do that, you know, there's nothing more that needs to be done, nothing more that needs to be said. Everybody see it in the chat. Everybody knows what went on. Everybody knows who the champions are. At the end of the day, if you can withstand the run and pull out the victory. So, kind of late here in the third quarter, this is where I kind of was saying, like, if we can keep playing fast, we can build out this lead. So that was my game plan. I'm telling everybody to get back on defense, but we're going to pressure as soon as they cross half court. Forcing him to run, play it faster. So him getting to the paint that fast and scoring that quick is what we want. We want them to think to attack faster and faster and faster, and eventually, you know, we'll get a couple of stops here and there, and we'll be able to get out on the break and get a couple of wide open threes or some easy dunks or something like that. So right there, defensive player of the year, he's right into the game plan. They're playing faster. That's not a shot he would normally take. All right. One thing Unrestricted does very well is when you get in the half court and you try to make that pass to a wide open teammate, they foul. And they do it so perfect. I mean, it's so annoying. So annoying. Like, every time I had a wide open 3 or an easy play that could have been made, they would foul and force you to go against that half-court defense that's so tough. But as you can see, kind of towards the end of the third quarter, teams really locking in on what we're doing, forcing them to play faster. You see the ball starting to move a little bit more than what they would like. And we just kind of had to stay the course from there. From there, at the start of the fourth quarter, you just go. And I realized, like, the way I was being played, I had to play faster on offense, which I didn't like it. Typically, I want to be able to slow down and, you know, let a team choose how they want to get beat. But This team didn't give me that option. I was actually forced to play faster, which forced me to go to the rim a lot more. Normally in a game like this, I have like close to 12 to 15 assists. Their game plan told me I needed to go score, and it's kind of hard to like remember what to do while you're in the moment. But I just saw how the game was going. And I was like, you know what? No, I need to go score. I need to go push the pace so we can hurry up and get this game over with. That kind of was my whole entire game plan going into the fourth quarter. Was just, okay, they played me like this. They want me to play faster. They pressure me full court. I gotta go. And every time I started going faster, that's when things started to click the way it was supposed to. Passes started to open up. I was putting a lot of pressure on their defense. I wasn't like waiting to see what the defense was gonna give me. I was just gonna go get a bucket and live with the result. So as you can see, every time they try to make any type of move, they seeing 2-3 defenders. Everybody's reaching, scrapping, and clawing, taking away all the little stuff that they like to do. I did hear through the grapevine that Young was a little sick. I hope he does get better. You know, that's my boy right there. I do hope he gets better, but he did say he was kind of sick playing in his finals, and the team had some things going on to where they wasn't really focused on 2K the way they should have. At the end of the day, that's their fault. All right, like this is the second time they'd have been in the finals and couldn't pull it out. At that point, the excuse doesn't matter anymore. Either you care or you don't. And if you don't care, quit putting the team together, getting to this point and losing. It's sad at the end of the day. Like I know for me, if we had lost this series, it would have hurt with me for a very long time. Because as great as I believe this team is, and as good as I think we are, and I knew we could have won, it would have hurt so much more that I couldn't win with these guys, considering the fact of how much work we put in and how good they had gotten over time. Like some of these guys, this was their first time ever being in a league. And as you can see the way the score is going, we became champions. The first time being in the league together with this roster, and we became champions. So if y'all remember when I posted UHA content, Jamaica wasn't on that team. Loco was not on that team. Strap was not on that team. These are guys that came in and made a huge difference in the way that we did things. I don't have RDH Hawk. Since he Reds, he did a big solid playing some of them games. He actually came through in the clutch, helping us win a lot of those games. So I want to give a big shout out to him, but I didn't have him in these finals. You know, Savage AI who was a big part of the UHA run. He didn't play. So like, a lot of first-time guys that came in, trusted the process. Like, half the time they didn't even know what was going on, who was playing, or who none of these people are. But they just came out, executed the game plan, and it was enough to become a champion. And I'm gonna ride the championship wave for as long as I can before we start season 2, because this was an amazing accomplishment. This is the biggest achievement I've ever had in 2K. I've been a legend before. I've won greatest of all time before. I done performed well enough to be an MVP in leagues and all that, multiple leagues before. Like in the PYPL, I did it. UHA, I performed well enough to be one, but to be a finals MVP with this team, biggest moment in 2K, this is my biggest accomplishment. And I'm proud to call myself a champion, an MVP, a finals MVP winner for Lethal Team. It could be Lethal Team, it could be Team Lethal, however y'all want to spin it, but with this team, this is the greatest accomplishment I ever had. D-Mac also, he's another first-time guy, you know, so you can't ask for nothing better than that, man. That's how you cap off a season. That's how you cap off a run. I'm pretty sure teams thought we'd be in this position. I'm not shocked at all. Like I said, Unrestricted, they've been in the finals before. I'm not shocked that they're in this position. Had the Defensive Player of the Year. You know, if we had an all-defensive team, they probably had 2 or 3 guys on the roster that would have been on it. They have 2 All-Stars and Young and Ace. So like, matter of fact, 3 All-Stars. J-Dub was an All-Star. So I mean, hell, you can't ask for nothing better than this, man. Like, this is competition at the highest level. Made a better team win, and the better team is us. 4 games to 1 against Unrestricted for the Morgan League Championship Season 1. That's how you cap off the end of a video. So with that being said, man, if you're new to the channel, hit the sub button. Season 2 is right around the corner. We gotta run this shit back. You know, I was debating on retirement, but fuck that. No, we gotta run this shit back, man. You know, I don't want to leave no doubt in my mind that my team is the best. We just proved it. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Association 2023 or follow the Morgan League. Like the video, leave comments, let me know what y'all think. Are you proud of your boy for winning Finals MVP, man? This is how you cap off a championship. I'll be back for Season 2, man. It's been Lethal. I'll catch y'all in the next video. I'm out.